Hi everyone, I'm Ritika from the Zoho Social team. I'm going to help you make the best use of Zoho Social for your social media marketing. We're all here today to talk about social media marketing and how your business can benefit from it. Not just that, we'll also discuss the advantages of getting a social media management tool to talk to your CRM. Alright, before we get started, I'd like to tell you a bit about myself. I'm Ritika and I work as a product marketer for Zoho Social. I am absolutely passionate about the social media world and I love the various ways one can creatively market themselves. Especially in today's day and age where individuals and brands can easily make use of social media and build on everything that the social media world has to offer. Where you, as a business, can grow and build healthy relationships with your potential customers. Alright, let's get started. So today, if someone wants to learn about a product or a service, they look for information not just on any of the search engines, but also on social media. People trust what their friends recommend or share, and they follow brands they love. So as a business, it makes perfect sense that you're there where your customers are. You're probably active on some of these social networks like Facebook or Twitter. In fact, Pew Research Center conducted a study where they found out that more than 91% of brands are using more than one social media platform. You start realizing the power of social media marketing once you start building a strong presence. And when your business has a social presence on more than one social network, switching between these networks can become difficult or let's just say unproductive. You need the right social media tool to understand and leverage this power, and that's exactly what Zoho Social helps you with. But hold on, so let's say you've got your social media marketing figured out, but what's happening to all your leads? Are you able to close sales deals with them? Now, what if I say that your social media management tool can also help you talk to your CRM? You can add so much value to your business with information flowing smoothly, especially when you have two products, that is, a social media management tool and a CRM integrated so well. Isn't this another good reason for you to move your business to social media? Not convinced yet? Alright, so let's see how Millie, the owner of Zilker Travels, does all of the social media marketing for her new cafe using Zoho Social. Meet Millie. She spends all day and all night in the kitchen creating the next best cake. But if no one knows about it, it doesn't really matter how great it is, right? So the best way for Millie to promote her cafe in Zilker Travels would be through social media, because in this day and age, that's where all her customers are. So she heads to the new post feature and gets cracking with all her posts about baking. So over here, these are the social networks that are available for your brand. You can select the social networks that you want to post from. Now, one way of publishing your post is by typing in your content. So for example, Millie can say, grab hold of our latest cupcakes. Hashtag cupcakes, hashtag chocolate. And she can even add an image if she likes. So let me just do that. So after you're done posting your content and adding the image, you can then hit publish now and it'll go live that instant. Or if you think that you need some more time to get the content right and publish this post, you can save it as a draft and bounce off ideas with your team and work on it later on. Now, another way of posting is to schedule your posts. So as a growing baking business, Millie will definitely be very busy. Sometimes she may not be able to find the time to manually publish her posts. So here's when scheduling helps. You can choose a specific date. So let me just say May 26th. And let me choose 8 a.m. And this post will go out on this day at this time after you hit schedule. Now let's look at Smart Queue. This is quite an interesting feature. So suppose you don't have a fixed date or a time in mind at which you want your posts to go out. You can rely on Smart Queue. This feature gives you the best possible dates to publish your post so that you can derive the maximum engagement from your audience. Now, clicking on the arrows will give you the next best time to publish, and this is based on predictive analytics and data mining from our end. And if you want to repeat your posts, you can use this feature. So let me give you an example. Millie finds out that there's an event coming up in 2 months where she will have the opportunity to tell people about her new venture. So at this event, she gets to set up a stall and exhibit her awesome cakes. Now, she would definitely like her followers to be reminded about it a few times in the days and months leading up to the event, right? That's where this feature helps. You can use this to set the frequency as either weekly or monthly. So let me just choose weekly, and I choose Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I say repeat until August 25th. So it will repeat this current post until this date. So once her posts are published, people start engaging with her, liking her page, her posts, commenting on them, and more. She can find them all here under live stream. So this is where you can follow a real-time stream of updates to learn how your audience is engaging with your brand. It will show you various types of social activities such as likes, mentions, follows, replies, shares, and wall posts. Here's when it gets interesting. This isn't just a real-time stream of updates. You can click on any of these social activities to get more information about the person or the brand and the kind of social activity they engaged in. That is, which specific activity or which specific post they liked or which post they commented on, and so on. And in terms of CRM, suppose Millie notices someone who just started to follow her brand or liked her tweet on Twitter. Zoho Social automatically adds this user as a connection. And a connection refers to anybody who has interacted with your brand in terms of liking, sharing, or commenting on your posts. And I'll talk about connections more in detail later on. Now, coming back to live stream, let's say I click on this social activity. It will show you more about this user. For instance, you can follow this person directly from here, and then there is Add to CRM, and you will find this feature across Zoho Social. So when you click on Add to CRM, you will be able to add them either as a new lead or a new contact to your CRM. So you can go ahead and input the necessary details as to which company they're from, their first name, their email ID, and so on. Now, associate to existing refers to associating this connections profile to their existing contact on CRM. And if you prefer to do this manually for each contact, this is how you can do it. Or else you can set up rules for automated lead generation as well. And I'll talk about that very soon. So all of these social activities will give you a lot of contextual information. You can look at the way the individual has engaged with your brand, and also take a look at their profile before deciding to add them either as a lead or a contact. This way, you will definitely be able to see the value that these details provide in helping you grow your customer base. Also, any connection that you add as a lead or a contact will be updated in CRM as well. Now, let's go back to this pop-up. I told you about the follow button, Add to CRM, and then you have Discuss. You can discuss about this person with your team from this tab, Collaborate, and I will show you how collaboration works. Now, in this pop-up, you will see the number of times this person has interacted with your brand. And you will also see that Vishnu has 65 followers and is following 186 people. Now, you will also notice something like Know More About Vishnu. So, clicking on that will take you to that specific person's, or if it's a brand, it will take you to that specific brand's connection profile so that you can see more information about them. For instance, we have Interactions tab over here. You can look at their interactions with your brand in this section. You can even look at their social media profile, which is Twitter, and engage with them directly from here. So I can like the tweet, I can retweet it, or I could just respond to this. And in terms of CRM, this way you'll find various sources of generating leads throughout Zoho Social. Now suppose Millie has interacted with this particular person on social media and they give her their personal contact number or email ID. Or through continuous interaction she finds out something interesting, like this user likes chocolate and cupcakes but is allergic to gluten. You can directly input the details in this personal info section and update it. So let me go ahead and say likes chocolate and cupcakes. But is allergic to gluten. And you can update their email address as well. So let me just say vishnu@.com, their phone number, and you can go ahead and click update. So the next time you interact with this person, you have something to lead with. You can also associate their other social profiles to this connection profile. So let me just click on Associate Facebook. You can associate either from within your connections list from Zoho Social, and a connection list shows you a list of everybody who has interacted with your brand in terms of liking, commenting, or sharing your posts. Or you can choose this tab that is from Facebook and search for them on this network. So let me go back to live stream. Yeah. You will also find leads and contact labels in different areas of the product, like live stream, connections, monitor, messages, and so on. And I'll talk about the other tabs very soon. Now that Millie's got her baking posts out, it's time to find out if people like what they're seeing. So she heads to brand health. All the social networks she's connected are here. That's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and Instagram. She can track the number of followers and active engagers, likes, and see how many people are talking about her cupcakes. So this table gives you a snapshot of your brand's social media performance across social networks. And keeping a tab on these metrics can help you understand how people are responding to your social media posts. If you scroll down a bit, you will notice recent posts. All the recently published posts by your brand from the various social networks will pop up here. It could be the same content if you've cross-posted, or it could be different depending on what you post from which social network. And there's something called details for every post. This is where all the beans will spill. So let's check out how Millie's posts have performed. Now let's say that Millie was successful in publishing 50 to 100 baking posts or recipe posts and generating interest in her customer base across various social networks. She even decided to promote some of her posts to see their reach. Her intention was to derive some form of engagement, and through this engagement find out what kind of posts are working best with her audience. Even further, find out if her brand was successful in generating leads. So here's where she comes to find out all of this. Now, when you click on details, you get the whole picture. How many likes, how many comments, shares, retweets, plus ones your posts have gotten. And you can directly respond to them from here. You can also take a look at the basic stats. So there is the total number of clicks, the number of people who have shared this post or created stories about it. Not only do you get basic stats, but there's also something known as opt-out, where it shows you the number of people who have reported your post or hidden it from their timeline. And in terms of CRM, as a business, you would like to know how many leads you have generated from this particular post or how many leads and contacts you have engaged with. clicking on CRM stats will give you this information. You can also email these post details to your colleagues or export it as a PDF or a PNG file. Alright, now coming to the different kinds of views for your posts, we have published posts here, and this is where you can find all your published posts. You can filter this according to the social media network of your choice, and you can sort it according to the date and according to popularity. So for example, if Millie wants to see the post that has gotten the most engagement on Facebook, she can do that by clicking here. And then we have promoted posts. So all the posts that you promote through paid ads on social networks will pop up over here. I haven't promoted anything, and that's why there is nothing to show here. Now moving on to scheduled posts. So all the posts that you schedule, of course, will come here, and you can even edit them from here. Or you could choose to filter it by users. Now moving on to failed posts. Now all of these social networks have certain gates with tokens, and when these tokens expire, that's when posts fail to go out. You will have to reconnect your network. Or it could also happen because of publishing duplicate content. And then we have drafts, where you can brainstorm and discuss further about each post idea with your team members. Over here we have calendar view of all your scheduled and published posts. You can use this to plan your content. And the orange outline blocks indicate the days for which posts are scheduled. And then there are other blocks that are vacant. So you or any of your team members can take a look at this calendar and choose if they want to schedule posts on those days or not. And you can go back and forth and see what your brand has marketed a few days back or what is lined up a few days from now. We also have this feature called Bulk Scheduler, where you can schedule large number of posts in advance. So let's say Millie has a vacation planned for the next 2 weeks, but she wants her business to be absolutely consistent on social media and not miss out on engaging with potential customers. Here's when this feature comes in handy. There's a checklist here that you can follow to upload your files. We've also created a template for you to upload your content according to the format that's suited for this feature. You can upload a .csv or a .xls file and click on schedule. So with this, you can save a lot of time and effort by uploading multiple posts all at once according to your preferred dates, and Zoho Social will take care of the rest. Okay, so now that Millie has published and scheduled her posts, she wants to learn more about what's going on in her industry. In fact, Millie has been talking about her participation in the bakery event that's going to be held in New York. She has done her research about some of her competitors, but she would like to take a closer look at some of their social media activities or maybe the marketing strategies they're using to promote themselves. So how can she do that? One way is to Google them all. Another way is maybe to go to each social network and dig in. But the easiest and the most effective way to do this would be through Zoho Social's Monitor. So let's see how. You can find all the various things you want to track here by clicking on this orange plus button. Now let me tell you that every social network has a particular type of column that you or your team members can add. For example, you can add a column where you can view people's posts on your Facebook wall, or you can track who is mentioning your brand on Twitter with this column. And then we have the other columns like keyword search, user search. For Instagram, we have hashtag search, and so on. And there's also leads and contacts for CRM integration. And I will come back to this shortly. So let's say Millie chooses the Instagram hashtag search column because she knows that many of the participants of the event and her competitors are using the hashtag baking. So with this column, she can keep track of all the posts and updates relating to the hashtag baking. She can then scroll through the feed to see how her competitors are promoting their baked goods, or she can also check if there's anyone looking to bulk order cupcakes. So this is for Instagram. Let's try this for Twitter. And I say hashtag baking. There you go. So you can scroll through the updates, and if you find someone who could be a prospective customer, you can even add them to CRM from right here and let your sales team take it forward. So let me go ahead and click Save and add it to my monitor screen. Great. Now that you have added them as a lead or a contact, you would like to monitor them, right? So in this column type, that is leads and contacts, you can view updates like Twitter mentions, Facebook wall posts, Google Plus comments on posts from all your leads and contacts. And you can check CRM filters to view posts from your leads, contacts, or your customers. This way, you can personalize and add columns that matter most to your business. And in this monitor screen, you can see various columns already added. Now suppose Millie is interested only in her brand at the moment. She will look at this column, Zilker Travels. Now all the posts related to the word Zilker and Travels will appear in this column. And you can feel free to discuss this post with your team members by clicking here. Suppose I, as a user, spot an interesting profile or an interesting hashtag. So let's say freedom to roam. And I decide that it's very important that I track this particular hashtag. Maybe it could lead me to something profitable. I can view all the posts coming from Twitter, Google Plus, or Instagram. I can then choose to click on Monitor and add it directly to my Monitor section. And again, if I want to engage with them directly from here, I can do so as well. Now going back to my monitor screen, let me tell you that you can do this with your users as well. So let me show you how that's done. I can see all his tweets. I can see the ones he's following, his followers, and likes. And if I like this profile, I can go ahead and click on Monitor and add it to my Monitor section. And you will find this feature across the product. So wherever you are, you will always have some form of context to either start a conversation or build a relationship with them. Also, as long as you're in the Monitor tab, all your saved columns will now automatically show you the number of real-time new posts as an orange badge right at the top. And when you click on the new badge, it refreshes the column to show you the latest posts and updates specific to that column in Monitor. Now, previously, you could only view independent tweets that would show up in your Twitter columns. It would have been very difficult for you to find out whether they were part of an ongoing conversation or not. But now, you can view conversations and see the original tweet that started it all. And the threaded view of these posts will give you more context for every conversation that you choose to take forward. You can engage right away by liking, retweeting, or replying. Now let's say Millie wants to control what she sees first the moment she heads to the monitor screen. In this section, she can choose to reorder columns by dragging and dropping them. Instead of scrolling through all of these columns to find her most favorite one. Also, reordering will not change the view for all the social users. It affects only your view. So when I drag and drop, it changes only for me. Any user can create columns, but some of the columns you create may not show the tweets or posts that are relevant to you, or you may realize there are other columns that better show what you're looking for. So what do you do then? This is where you head. Remove this column feature lets you remove columns from your Monitor tab, and only the admins and the column owners can remove columns, and this will affect all users' view. So this way, you can monitor a lot of things relevant to you and your industry by adding various kinds of columns. Now, coming back to Millie's example, Suppose she interacted with a prospective customer from the Twitter keyword search column hashtag baking, and he decides to send her a private message asking about the prices of cupcakes, or is just probably looking to discuss important details about his son's birthday party and so on. So where would Millie go then? This is where she heads. She goes to the Messages tab. She can not only engage with him from here, but also keep a tab on the interactions he's had with her brand. She can update his contact information and view his recent tweets. Now, Messages is where you can view private messages that come into your Facebook and Twitter inboxes. You can use this filter over here to view Facebook messages or Twitter messages and also see messages from your leads and contacts. Now, knowing your customer is important. It could create a really good brand image for you. And to further help you with that, we have connections. This refers to anyone who has interacted with your brand across multiple social accounts in terms of liking, sharing, or commenting on posts, and tweeting or sending direct messages to you. Zoho Social will automatically update your connections list with everyone who interacts with you, and you can see and manage all of them from here. And by all of them, I mean those you add as CRM leads and CRM contacts as well. Now let me briefly go over the 7 different views of connections. All connections refers to everyone who has interacted with your brand. Recently engaged are those who have engaged with your brand recently. Most engaged are connections who interact with your brand more often than most other connections. Followers are connections who follow your brand on Twitter and Instagram. And following are connections you or your brand follows on Twitter and Instagram. When you integrate CRM with Zoho Social, you can see 2 more views. CRM leads are connections who have provided their contact information and have the potential to be converted into CRM contacts. CRM contacts, on the other hand, are leads that you have already contacted and have ongoing interactions with. You can filter and see connections from the social media network of your choice from here. So let's say that Millie's published posts have generated a good amount of engagement with those coming to the event in New York. And Millie's guess is that these people are more engaged with her brand compared to the others. So she goes ahead and clicks on the most engaged connection view and filters the social network to, let's say, Twitter. By viewing this list, she can choose which connections to add either as a lead or a contact to her CRM based on their interaction with her brand. So this is one of the many sources of lead generation, and like I said, you will find this throughout the product. Now let's look at CRM leads and CRM contacts for now. The integration between Zoho CRM and social will give you or your business additional ways to manage your sales relationships. Now what I mean by this is that you will not have to pester them for more information when they interact with your brand on social media, because you will be able to see their contact details as well as their interactions across channels. Now let me go ahead and click on this particular contact. So this way you will have access to all the contextual information that you need to build better relationships with your potential customers. Contextual information in the sense that you can view posts from various social networks, all their followers, and the ones they're following on Twitter, and so on. You can view their connection details to learn more about a connection over here. Now let's look at CRM Info tab. You can use this CRM Info tab to view CRM details and make progress towards a sale. Over here, you will find information that's available in Zoho CRM as well. The connection's contact details, the owner of the connection in CRM, and in this case it's me. You can chat with the connection CRM owner through the ping feature, and since I'm the CRM owner of this particular contact, you can't see the ping icon over here, but you can use it to learn more about them, in the sense that as a Zoho Social user, you can share relevant information with the CRM owner to help them bring in more business, or As a user, you can get information from the CRM owner with respect to the specific contact. Now, what's more is that you can develop your existing relationships or build new ones purely based on interactions from social media. So, this way, if it were Millie, she could sell more and create more value for her business by passing on information that she gets from social media to her sales team. Moreover, how easy would it be for Millie to just ping them or add notes from Zoho Social itself, right? For example, let's say she added this particular connection as a contact after interacting with him from her monitor screen. And she says, let's follow up with him. And she adds it. So when you make changes in Zoho Social, there are certain things that get automatically updated in Zoho CRM, like when you add a connection as a lead or a contact, or when you enter details like the name, the company, while manually adding them as a lead or a contact, and when you make notes about them. So with all this information about a connection, your sales team can move the relationship forward. You can also discuss about a connection with your team members by clicking on Discuss. It will direct you to the Collaborate tab. So let's say she tags her team member and says, cupcakes baked and ready to be delivered, and then clicks on Share. When you tag a team member, they will get notified immediately. And instead of sending emails or links over chat and following up, over here, you can brainstorm and come up with awesome content with the help of your team members. Update each other about the different things you're working on, share insights that you get from social media, and plan your marketing efforts accordingly. And you will find this option to discuss across the product. So you can discuss about your connections, posts, and even reports. Now, to stay up to date with all the internal discussions, you can click here. That is team notifications. This way, you can be sure not to miss out on any important discussions with your team members. Now, speaking of notifications, next to team notifications are social media notifications. So whenever someone comments on your post or sends you a message or follows you, all of that will appear in notifications. Great. So the recipe ends here. Cupcakes parceled and sent out for delivery. What did her customers say? Did they like it? Did the cupcakes taste good? Or maybe not so good? How can Millie find out? So this is where she comes to know what has worked for her brand and what hasn't. You can analyze the impact or contribution of your social media marketing efforts over here. First up, let's look at the basic stats. Over here, you will find reports for all the social networks that show you stats about how well your brand is performing, how many fans you have gained or lost, how frequently content on your page was viewed, and so on. You can even choose what kind of graphical representation of data you'd like to see, whether you'd like to see a bar graph or a pie chart. We also have advanced reports or analytics. These are insights based on the kind of content that you have published. So you can check your social outreach, what kind of content is working best for your business, when best to post, what your connections are saying about your brand, and so on. And under standard reports, you can filter and view reports of the social media network of your choice, whether it's Twitter, LinkedIn, or Instagram. You can also filter the time frame to view your reports. So it could be since yesterday, past 15 days, or past 30 days. And if you'd like, you can also discuss this report with your team members, export it as a PDF or a PNG file, or email it to your colleagues. Now suppose in the weeks leading up to the bakery exhibition, Millie decides to analyze what kind of content is working well with her followers. She can head here, create custom report, And over here, she can choose which stats and analytics she wants to see for which social network. So let me create a report right now to show you. So for Facebook, Millie chooses, let's say, social outreach to see her brand's reach in terms of posts published, posts viewed, and so on. Now for Twitter, let's say she chooses additional stats to get more information about her followers. For LinkedIn, she chooses verticals of my followers to check what kind of background they come from. Moving on to Google+, she chooses content that works best. So from here, she can make out that links are working well. Maybe she should try and experiment with images and videos next time. And then we have Instagram, and she chooses brand performance to check how her brand is doing on Instagram. And then she gives this report a title, Zilker Travels Cafe 1, and saves it, or she could even schedule it. We also have scheduled reports. So you can send the reports that you have customized to your team members, either daily, weekly, or monthly. And you can choose the day and the time and click Save. You can also change the file type to either a PDF or a PNG file. If you'd like, you can go ahead and edit. You can add a message over here, set the day, the time, the file type, and click Schedule. Or you could delete this report altogether if you wish. Now, the beautiful part about Zoho Social and CRM integration is that you can view more than just stats and analytics. Zoho Social has reports based on the leads and contacts you generate. So let's head there. Now, Millie has a few questions regarding how her business is doing, and you probably do too. For example, how can I differentiate leads generated from social media versus those from different sources like emails? Or which social network is helping my business get revenue? Or what kind of posts are doing a good job of selling my product? The answers to these questions lies in integrating Zoho Social with your CRM, where you can follow social media updates and engage with your audience better. So over here, there are 4 columns. That is leads created, contacts created, potentials, and revenue. Under leads created, you can view the day, the lead name, lead owner, and the lead source. And similarly for contacts created. Now, potentials are the number of sales opportunities or deals made with your CRM contacts. The leads or contacts that you add either from Zoho Social or CRM has its potential pulled up from CRM and it's shown over here. Now, clicking on those potentials will take you to Zoho CRM directly. Now, let's say Millie wants to track whether people from social media are actually buying her cupcakes. So she checks out the revenue column and finds out that they're selling like hotcakes. Revenue, in simple terms, is the amount generated through potentials that have won. You can click on lead source to view which social media network is helping your business. Now, suppose Millie is running social media campaigns on Facebook and Twitter, and she wants to compare and see which campaign is helping her generate more revenue. She can use the numbers from this report to compare. You can also sort it to view leads generated from a time frame of your choice, whether it's current week, current month, or last month. And you can also email this report to your colleagues and export it as a CSV file. So that's it about reports. I spoke to you about generating leads directly from social media, where you can do it manually through the Add to CRM feature. An alternative to manually adding connections as leads or contacts is to use the automatic lead generation feature. So this is where you head. You go to Setup and you click on Brand Settings and you navigate to the Lead Generation tab. Over here, you will see a list of lead generation rules organized into 4 columns. That is social action, criteria, add as, and status for these social networks, Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. That's available in Zoho CRM. Now, the social action column lists the various actions that might occur on a social network, including likes, comments, tweets, mentions, plus ones, and direct messages. The criteria column consists of detailed work rules about which actions will trigger Zoho Social to add a connection as either a lead or a contact. You can add specific keywords to any rule by clicking on Add Keyword. So for example, if someone comments on my page posts with keywords such as travel plans, packages, or cupcakes, I can add them as a lead or a contact. Now moving on to Add As column, you can choose if you want connections to be automatically added as a CRM contact or a CRM lead. And the toggle switch in the status column allows you to turn each rule on or off. Green indicates the rule is active and gray indicates that the rule is inactive. Now Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus each have specific social actions that you can generate leads from. And if you feel this would be better for your business, you can set rules to automate the entire lead generation process. Now that we're in the setup section, I'll briefly go over the various settings. Let me just tell you that if you want to add more brands to your portal, you can click on this drop down and click on Add Another Brand. And if you've already added brands, you can very easily switch from one brand to another from here. And if you have multiple pages and profiles per social network, you will have to create additional brands and connect each page or profile to that brand. And in Zoho Social, you can also have multiple users managing different brands. Brand information, simply put, consists of information about your brand. You can select which link shortener you want to make a default one. Moving on to social networks, you can view all the social networks your brand is connected to. You can disconnect a social network anytime you'd like, or you could also enable or disable CRM integration for these social networks. In roles and permissions, you can create new roles for your brand and assign permissions to those roles. For example, all brand admins and users will have all these permissions by default. However, for the other roles, you can choose what they can have access to. Moving on to brand users, in Zoho Social, you can have multiple users managing different brands. As a portal admin, you can invite users and assign roles to them, and you can manage users and settings of all the brands, whereas brand admins can manage users and settings only for that particular brand. Yep, so this is how you can change roles and assign the social networks they can manage. You can also remove these users from here by clicking on the cross button over here. In notifications, these are the 3 types of actions that users can receive email notifications for. That is, when a scheduled post goes live on social networks, when a scheduled post fails to go live on social networks, and when a social network gets disconnected from Zoho Social. You can also receive notifications from these social networks as well for these particular social actions. So that's about it. So to summarize, we looked at how important it is to build your brand's presence on social media because that's where most of your customers are. You will discover customers that you never knew existed. We also looked at how integrating your CRM with social media can help you find new opportunities for generating leads, finding customers, and building rapport with them. So in a time where social media does most of the talking, monitoring the efforts of your social media marketing and engaging with everyone to sell more is exactly why your business can use Zoho Social integrated with your Zoho CRM. And that's about it, guys. That's the way the cookie crumbles. I wanted to share something exciting with you all. We ranked number 1 and number 2 on G2 Crowd's top 10 social media monitoring and social media management softwares for small businesses. We also made it to the top 3 in the Get App social media marketing category, and we got featured in PC Mag last year as well. We are very grateful to our users. They really appreciate us and they have shown us some love in the form of good reviews. I picked up some of these quotes from the review websites I mentioned earlier, that is GetApp and G2 Crowd. You can take a look at these reviews. I'd like to mention that you can also generate leads from the Zoho Social mobile app. It's available on iOS and Android phones. Feel free to get in touch with us anytime. If you enjoyed this webinar or if you'd like to share your experience with Zoho Social, tweet to us at Zoho or use the hashtag Zoho Social and I will find you and respond to you from my monitor screen. You can also write to us at support@zohosocial.com. Thank you and have a good day.